दोस्तों हम लोग देख रहे हैं 500 इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन फॉर जुडिशरी एग्जाम और नेट एग्जाम। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है तलाकुल विद्दत इज। तो तलाकुल विद्दत इज ए कंप्लीट एंड इररिवोकेबल डिवोर्स। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, हु सेड दैट पब्लिक पॉलिसी इज अ अनरूली हॉर्स। तो ये कहा था जस्टिस बोरू ने। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है रेसिशन ऑफ द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मीन्स। तो इसका राइट आंसर है कैंसलेशन ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है जजेस नॉट ओनली डिस्कवर लॉ बट आल्सो दे मेड लॉ। किसने कहा था? ब्लैक स्टोन ने। ए बेगरिंग एग्रीमेंट डिपेंड्स ऑन एन अनसर्टेन इवेंट। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है ऑन विच डेट द स्टैच्यू ऑफ द इंटरनेशनल क्रिमिनल कोर्ट हैज कम इनटू फोर्स। सो 1 जुलाई 2002। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है हु डिस्क्राइब्ड जूरिस्प्रूडेंस एज लॉयर्स एक्स्ट्रा वर्जन। सो इसका राइट आंसर है जूलियस स्टोन। नेक्स्ट है ए रिसीवर इज एन ऑफिसर ऑफ द कोर्ट। द मुस्लिम वुमेन प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ राइट्स ऑन डाइवोर्स एक्ट वाज इनेक्टेड इन 1986। इजमा एज अ सोर्स ऑफ मुस्लिम लॉ मीन्स unanimous opinion of the Muslim jurist. After declaration of Waqf, the property become vested in God. The concept of trust originated in, तो ट्रस्ट का कंसेप्ट कहाँ से आया? इंग्लैंड से। क्रेल वर्सेज हेनरी केस इज रिलेटेड टू डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन। फादर ऑफ इंटरनेशनल लॉ इज ह्यूगो ग्रेशियस। वोल्टेयर वाज अ फ्रेंच राइटर एंड फिलोसोफर। फादर ऑफ लोकल सेल्फ गवर्नमेंट इन इंडिया वाज लॉर्ड रिपन। एनजीटी एक्ट कब पास हुआ? 2010 में। व्हाट इज द एसेंस ऑफ प्लीडिंग? प्लीड्स फैक्ट्स नॉट लॉ। रूल 6 to 10 ऑफ ऑर्डर 39 ऑफ सीपीसी डील्स विद इंटरलोक्यूटरी ऑर्डर्स। मुता मैरिज कम्स टू एन एंड बाय हिबा ई मुद्दत। विच वन ऑफ द फॉलोइंग ग्रुप ऑफ सेक्शन डील्स विद द लीज अंडर द टीपीए एक्ट। सो सेक्शन 105 to 117। Which one of the following section of CPC deals with institution of suits? तो इसका राइट आंसर है सेक्शन 26। और दोस्तों ये हैं 500 क्वेश्चन, काफ़ी फास्ट हैं, ठीक है। तो इसी टाइप से हम लोग क्वेश्चन देखेंगे। आप लोग वीडियो को लाइक कर लीजिए, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए। द सेक्शंस इन द CPC कैन बी अमेंडेड बाय द पार्लियामेंट। अंडर CPC a decree may be executed by the court which passed it or by the court to which it is sent for execution. Under which provision of CPC an ambassador can be sued? Section 86. When a court can reject a plaint where the plaint is not in duplicate. Antonym of marvelous is awful. Synonym for of blemish is blot. The offence under the section 250B of the MPLRC is cognizable and non-bailable offence. Under section 151 CPC inherent power can be exercised by any court. The object of oral examination under Order 10 Rule 2 CPC is to elucidate the matter in controversy in the suit. Under Section 148 CPC, the court can enlarge the time not exceeding in total 30 days. Section 44 of TPA deals with transfer by one co-owner. Under Indian Contract Act, contract of betting is void. Under Section 37 SRA 1963, a temporary injunction can be granted at any stage of the suit. Under MPLRC, who is the owner of all lands of the state? State government. Under which section of MPLRC appointment of kotwars and their duties are prescribed? Section 230. Pragmatic means practical. In TPA, effect of holding over of lease is provided under Section 116. SRA came into operation 1st March 1964. In Indian Contract Act, the responsibility of finder of goods is provided under Section 71. In Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act, rights of landlord are provided under Schedule 2. Under the Chhattisgarh Excise Act, liquor cannot be sold to a person below 40 years of age 21 years. Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act 2011 came into force on 6 November 2012. In Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act 2011, powers of Rent Control Tribunal are provided under Section 8. Court Fees Act came into force on 1st April 1870. Section 16A Registration Act was inserted by 2001. Grounds for legal disability provided under Section 6 Limitation Act are minority, insanity, or idiocy. Third Buddhist council was summoned by Ashoka. The maxim res ipsa loquitur is a rule of evidence. Sale of Goods Act came into force on 1st July 1930. Magna Carta granted in England so 1215. In the constitutional history of England, veto power was lastly used by king in 1707. The gift of future property is void. An agreement to remain unmarried is void. Under the TPA, a mortgage by deposit of title deeds is called equitable mortgage. Under Section 3 of the TPA Act 1882, attested in relation to an instrument means attested by at least 2 witnesses. Which article of the Constitution of India confers power to grant pardon on the governor of a state? So, Article 161. CPC pleading does not include evidence. CPC pleading does not include evidence. Appeal against a decree can be filed in High Court within 90 days. Who is the landlord for the purpose of Section 23J of the MP Accommodation Control Act? A government servant. MP Accommodation Control Act does not apply to government property. Under which one of the following section of the MP Accommodation Control Act powers of a civil court have been provided to the rent controlling authority? So Section 29. Under the MPLRC, agriculture year means 1st July. Under the MPLRC, who has the power to alter, create or abolish division, district, subdivision and tehsil? So state government. In which section provide that offences under the NIA are compoundable? Section 147. Under Section 143 of NIA, trial shall be concluded within 6 months from the date of filing of the complaint. He preferred cricket to any other sport. The doctrine of necessity has been elaborately considered in the landmark decision of R. versus Doodley Stephens. The period of limitation for review of the judgment is 30 days. Under the Hindu Minority and Guardianship Act 1956, the custody of minor who has not completed the age of 5 years shall be with the mother ordinarily. Next question is application for anticipatory bail may be made before Session Court or High Court. Which of the following sections deals with specific performance of part of contract? Section 12. Divorce by mutual consent has been provided in Section 13A Hindu Marriage Act 1955. Section 6 Limitation Act is available to plaintiffs. Section 10 CPC are mandatory. Surety right of subrogation, Article 41. Section 141. The rule that no tax shall be levied except by authority of law is embodied in Article 265. The period of limitation for filing a suit for a specific performance is 3 years from the date fixed for performance. Khyar ul bulug means option of puberty. शरीयत एक्ट 1937 में कितनी सेक्शन है? तो 6 सेक्शंस. क्रिएटिंग अ वक्फ मीन्स डेडिकेशन ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी टू गॉड. रेस सब जुडिस का मतलब क्या है? स्टे ऑफ सूट. सेकेंड अपील लाइज टू हाई कोर्ट ओनली ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑफ सब्सटेंशियल क्वेश्चन ऑफ लॉ. द डॉक्ट्राइन ऑफ रेस्टिट्यूशन इज बेस्ड अपॉन द मैक्सिम एक्टस क्यूरी नेमिनम ग्रेविट. अंडर सेक्शन 26 SRA रेक्टिफिकेशन ऑफ इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स. सेक्शन 4 इंडियन स्टाम्प एक्ट रिलेट है सेल मॉर्गेज और सेटलमेंट से. रूल्स रिलेटिंग टू सपेंदा रिलेशनशिप आर बेस्ड ऑन द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ एक्सोगेमी. थ्रेट टू स्ट्राइक इज नो कोर्सन. द पीरियड ऑफ लिमिटेशन फॉर रिडेम्पशन ऑफ मॉर्गेज अंडर लिमिटेशन एक्ट इज 60 ईयर्स। प्लीडिंग का मतलब क्या है? प्लेंट और रिटर्न स्टेटमेंट। प्राग्मेटिव का मतलब है प्रैक्टिकल। एंटोनिम क्या है ऑप्टिमिस्ट का? तो पेसिमिस्ट है। पोर्ट्रेट और लैंडस्केप क्या है? पेज ओरिएंटेशन है। बाइनरी लैंग्वेज में 2 डिजिट्स हैं। अंडर कंसिडरेशन ऑफ कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ, सो सब जुडिस। द रिलीफ बाय वे ऑफ मैंडेटरी इंजंक्शन इज डिस्क्रिशनरी। प्रीलिमिनरी डिक्री कैन बी पास्ड इन अ सूट फॉर पार्टीशन, for partnership, for possession and for masonry property. Under CPC, when application for review is dismissed, so no appeal lies. The object of oral examination under Order 10, Rule 2 CPC is to elucidate the matter and controversy in the suit. Supreme Court of India has been established under Article 124. The arbitral award as defined in the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 includes both final and interim award. The Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 was enacted taken into consideration on model law and conciliation rules adopted by the United Nations Commission on the International Trade Law (UNCITRAL). A party seeking interim measures from a court would file an application under Section 9 Arbitration and Conciliation Act. An application for setting aside the arbitral award is filed under Section 34 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. An arbitral award can be enforced under Section 36 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. Part 2 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 related to enforcement of certain foreign awards. One who walks in sleep is somnambulist. Meaning of puerile is childless. Lex loci is the law of place. लीडिंग प्रोड्यूसर कोकोनट का है इंडोनेशिया। वेल्ड ग्रेसलैंड कहाँ पे है? साउथ अफ्रीका। हाउ मेनी फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल आर प्रोवाइडेड इन सेक्शन 3 ऑफ जुवेनाइल जस्टिस केयर एंड प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ चिल्ड्रन एक्ट, सो 16 प्रिंसिपल हैं। इंडिसेंट रिप्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ वुमेन प्रोहिबिशन एक्ट 1986 इज पब्लिश्ड इन गजेटेड इन इंडिया ऑन 25 September 1987. In advertisement and a newspaper inviting tenders is invitation for proposal. To enforce a right of preemption, period of limitation is 1 year. Ut res magis veliet comparet is also known as rule of reasonable construction. Section 143 to 147 of Negotiable Instrument Act 1881 came into force on 6 February 2003. Section 20 SRE provide for substituted performance of contract. Section 27 of Indian Contract Act declares an agreement and restraint of trade is void. Judicial review first case है Marbury versus Madison 1803. Grave and sudden provocation क्या है? ये question of fact है. बच्चन सिंह वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ पंजाब इज कंसर्न्ड विद कैपिटल पनिशमेंट इन इंडिया. ओविडिमा फिडीज का मतलब है इन ऑटोमोस्ट गुड फेथ. पर्सोना नॉन ग्राटा मीन्स पर्सन नॉट वांटेड. विच सेक्शन ऑफ हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट डील्स विद कस्टडी ऑफ चिल्ड्रन? सो सेक्शन 26. करेक्ट स्पेलिंग है commensurate. One who hates women is called misogynist. Modus operandi means manner of working. Mitakshara is commentary on Yasvanalak Smriti. The author of Dayabhag was Vigyaneswara. Principle of res judicata is mandatory. TPA came into force on 1st July 1882. Registration of Hindu marriage कहाँ पे है? सेक्शन 8 में. Hindu Marriage Act 1955 customary divorce is saved section 29(2). The Dattak Mimamsa and Dattak Chandrika are related to adoption. The maximum share of mothers and widow under Sunni law of inheritance may be 1/3 and 1/4. Who is a natural guardian of the property of a minor under Muslim law? Father. The marriage with a Muslim woman undergoing iddat is irregular. Under Muslim law, when wife and husband seek divorce on mutual consent, it is called mubarat. Muta marriage is recognized by Ithna Sharia School. Institution of Ombudsman first started in Sweden 1809. Public holiday are declared under Negotiable Instrument Act. Bellamy versus Seva in cases related to lespendence. Principle of Musa is recognized by Hanafi law. Bequest of life interest in Muslim law is valid. Doctrine of Cyprus is related with Waqf. Hiba of future property in Muslim law is valid. If Sunni Muslim marries a Kitabiya girl, the marriage is valid. Section 3C of the Hindu Succession Act defines cognate. Divorce by mutual consent has been provided in Section 13B. The Hindu Marriage Act 1955 contains the minimum period of dissertation for filing a suit for judicial separation is 2 years. In a case of divorce, the period of iddat is 3 lunar months. Rule of ratable abatement applies in Wasiyat. Ethiopia, in which continent Africa, osteoporosis is a disease related with which of the following bone? A computer stores its permanent memory on hard disks. Cotton is softer than wood. Adjudicate का मतलब क्या है? Decide. Antonym क्या है? Bird. Derogatory क्या? Praising. Interpleader suit is a suit instituted by a person who has no interest in the subject matter, in which case fraud is committed by silence. He did not disclose B at the time of selling his car that he had stolen the car. Which type of the following injunction a court cannot issue? Malwari injunction. To grant a degree of specific performance for the court is discretionary. Legal maxim sui generis इसका मतलब क्या है? The only one of its kind. Encroach का मतलब क्या है? To trespass or intrude. Potent का मतलब क्या है? Having great power or physical strength. Never. इसके बाद next है faction theory is related to legal personality. The constitutional basis of precedent in India is Article 141. In the Dark Age, natural law was given new interpretation by Thomas Aquinas. What cannot be done directly cannot be done indirectly. This statement relates to the doctrine of colorable legislation. Money bill can be introduced only in Lok Sabha. National character of law was introduced in jurisprudence by Sevaini. Analytical, historical, and ethical jurisprudence are three different parts of jurisprudence according to Salmond, who has made a distinction between law properly so-called and law improperly so-called. John Aston. No suit under Section 6 of the SRA shall be brought after the expiry of 6 months from the date of possession. The schedule for period of limitation is divided in 3 divisions. Odi alterum partem means no one shall be condemned unheard. The sale of goods is a mercantile law. So दोस्तों हम लोग ये देख रहे हैं इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन 500 और आगे भी हम लोग देखेंगे इसी टाइप से क्वेश्चंस इम्पोर्टेंट। तो जो डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन और आंसर हैं हेल्पफुल हैं, सभी एग्जाम में ही पूछे जाते हैं। नेमो डेबिट ऐसे जोडेक्स इन प्रोप्रिया सुआ कोसा मतलब क्या है? नो वन कैन बी जज इन हिज ऑन केस। सीपीसी क्या है? एक एडजेक्टिव लॉ है। रसेल वर्सेस रसेल केस संबंधित है क्रूअलिटी से। हिंदू मैरिज एक्ट 1955 प्रोवाइड प्रोसीडिंग शैल बी कंडक्टेड इन कैमरा, तो सेक्शन 22 में। Sunni law does not recognize muta temporary marriage. The doctrine of estoppel is a rule of evidence. Mitigate का अपोजिट क्या है? Aggravate. Judgment का मतलब क्या है? Statement of judges on the ground of decree or order. Once a mortgage, always a mortgage was laid down in cases Nooks versus Rice. How many types of mortgage given in Section 58 TPA? 6 types. In which cases it was held surrender by tenant is not transfer. Makhanlal Saha versus NN Adhikari. Principle of Section 17 TPA is based on which of the following cases? Theluson versus Woodford. Govind Dayal versus Inayatullah is a leading case on the following preemption. Who delivered the dissenting minority judgment in triple talaq cases? Justice Kehar Singh. Under the dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939, option of puberty is available to the wife only. World Refugee Day is observed every year 20 June. Under the TPA, remedy for foreclosure is available under which one of the following mortgages? Mortgage by conditional sale. Which sector contribute maximum share in the national income of India? So service sector. Taxes raised are credited into consolidated fund. Which 5-year plan laid emphasis on faster, sustainable and inclusive growth? 12 5-year plan. The author of Planned Economy of India is Sir M. Visvesvaraya. Improvements to mortgage property is provided in which one of the following section of TPA Act? Section 63A. Which section of the CPC 1908 embraces the principle of restitution? So section 144. Case of seeing case is related to parliamentary privileges. Carry forward rule was held to be ultra virus in cases of Devdasan versus Union of India. In cases of breach of contract, the principle for assessment of damages are given in Headley versus Baxendley. The book of Theory of Legislation was written by Jeremy Bentham. Interest theory is a theory of legal right. Who one is the main propounder of declaratory theory of judicial precedent? Next, under which provision of IPC casing death of a child in mother womb is not homicide? Explanation 3 of section 299. Who was the founder of Deccan Education Society? Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Author of History of British India is James Mill. First Buddhist council was summoned by Ajasatru. BSA applies to judicial proceeding before courts. The fact which form part of the same transaction. So section 4. Husband and wife are competent witnesses against each other in civil and criminal cases. In Registration Act, provision for re-registration of certain documents is made under section 23. Court Fees Act came into force on 1st April 1870. Schedule 1 of the Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act is related with right of tenants. In Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act, rights of landlord are provided under Schedule 2. Musa under Muslim law means an undivided share in the property. CPC Amendment Act 2002 enforced on 1st July 2002. Registration of marriage has been made compulsorily by Hindu Marriage Act 1955 under Section 8. There are 9 grounds of divorce has been given under Section 13 Hindu Marriage Act 1955. जिसमें adultery, cruelty, desertion, conversion, insanity, leprosy, venereal disease, renunciation, presumption of death. Principle of private international law incorporated in Section 13 and 14 CPC. Applicant Defines and Limitation Act 2A. Bharat Nidhi Limited versus Takhatmal is related to ex-naval claim. Right of subrogation means the surety will step into the shoes of the creditor. An order or decree under Section 6 of the SRA is neither appealable nor reviewable. Under the MPLRC, Wajib Large of a village is maintained by the SDO. Under Section 11 MPLRC, who is not a revenue officer? Revenue inspector. Under the MP Accommodation Control Act, the landlord gets entitled to get vacated from the tenant if he did not use it continuously for 6 months. My Own Boswell is the autobiography of Justice M. Hidayatullah, who was the first Indian to receive a Nobel Prize, Rabindranath Tagore. The study of bees is known as apiology. The first man to reach the North Pole, Robert Peary. Chemical formula of methane is CH4. First man to compile Encyclopedia Spheosis. Chemical formula of methane is CH4. Who is the author of the book Ghosts of Calcutta? Sebastian Ortage. Chemical name of gypsum is calcium sulfate dihydrate. Meaning of puerile is childless. Finder of lost goods under the Indian Contract Act is Bailey. Correct and direct speech. The policeman said to us, "Where you are going?" So इसका right answer है, the policeman inquired where we are going. Call the first witness, said the judge. The judges on the honorable judge commanded them to call the first witness. She said to me, "I shall play now." She told me that she would play then. Passive voice. Someone gave her a bulldog, so a bulldog was given to her by someone. A.N. दा पूछा जाता है. कालिदास is the Shakespeare of India. A pupil should obey his teacher. The rich should help the poor. The headquarters of Interpol International Police is situated at Lyons, France. Full form of SIM is Subscriber's Identity Module. The instrument used in lie detecting is polygraph. Protein present in wheat grain is gluten. The goat particle is high boson particle. ISRO is established in 1969. Cellulose is not digested in human body. National Botanical Research Institute कहाँ पे? लखनऊ में. Musical instrument sitar was invented by Amir Khusro. Bijak is a collection of sayings of Kabir. KOT waterfall is located in which district? Suriba में. Badrinath located in central Himalaya. Prepared a scientific classification of forest, so HG champion. King Kharwel of Kaling belong to which dynasty? Chedi dynasty. डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट एक्ट कब का है? 2005 का है. नेशनल कैपिटल रीजन प्लानिंग बोर्ड वाज सेट अप इन 1985. द पटकाई हिल सेपरेट इंडिया फ्रॉम म्यांमार. Which one of the following constitutional amendment act provided for the appointment of the same person as governor for 2 or more states? So 7th amendment. इंडियन फेडरलिज्म एस कोऑपरेटिव फेडरलिज्म किसने कहा था? ग्रेनवेल ऑस्टिन ने. मॉडल्स ऑफ ब्यूरोक्रेसी एक्सिस्ट इन इंडिया टुडे. सेमी पॉलिटिकल ब्यूरोक्रेसी. सीवीसी सेट अप रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ संथानम कमेटी. विच हैज हाई कोर्ट हैज द टेरिटोरियल जुरिस्डिक्शन ओवर अंडमान एंड निकोबार आइलैंड? कलकत्ता. How much salary of a person can be attached in execution of decree of maintenance? 1/3 of the salary. CPC is not a decree, any order for dismissal of default. Under CPC, a copy of plant shall be attached with every summons. A contract to be rupees 10,000 if V house is burned. The contract is contingent. An agreement to do an act impossible in itself is void. Cases relating to general offer: Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt. Carlyle versus Carvel Smoke Wall Corporation. Austin book: The province of jurisprudence is determined by the lectures delivered in the London University. Law is found not made. Concept of law belongs to historical school. Jurisprudence is the scientific synthesis of essential principle of law has been said by Allen. Jurisprudence is the philosophical aspect of knowledge of law is said by Cicero. The theory of social solidarity has been propounded by Dewitt. Law grows with the nation, increases with it and dies with its dissolution, and it is characteristic or it is said by Sivini. Ownership is a plenary control over an object. Definition given by Holland. Legal order is a pyramid of norms. Statement of Kelson. In law, the heartful or controversy relate to law and morality. Theory: Who says international law is a vanishing point of jurisprudence? ये क्वेश्चन काफी पूछा जाता है. इसका राइट आंसर हॉलैंड. नेशनल जुडिशियल अपॉइंटमेंट कमीशन एक्ट 2014 came into force on 13th April 2015. Who has described international law as positive international morality? Austin. In which cases Supreme Court declared Article 15(5) as constitutional? Ashok Kumar Thakur versus Union of India. Next question है: For how much period the president can appoint additional and acting judges in High Court not exceeding 2 years? Who among the following has said that Indian Constitution is a federation with a strong centralizing tendency? Sir Ivor Jennings. Hindu Marriage Act 1955 degrees of prohibited relationship is defined under section 3G. Registration of marriage has been made compulsory by Hindu Marriage Act under section 8. A child born out of a void and voidable marriage under Hindu law is legitimate. A Hindu male of 28 years of age adopt a female child of 13 years of age. The adoption is void. Section 9 Hindu Marriage Act was held to be intra vires the Constitution by the Supreme Court in the case of Saroj Rani versus Sudarshan Kumar. Under section 8 of the Hindu Succession Act 1956, the correct order of priority of succession is reflected as follows: Class 1 higher, Class 2 higher, agnate, cognate. The prescribed period of limitation for preferring an appeal under section 28 Hindu Marriage Act is 90 days. A Hindu wife is entitled to claim maintenance after the death of her husband from her father-in-law under section 19 of the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956. Next question is: The principles laid down in the case of Jijabai Vithalrao Gajre versus Pathan Khana related to minority and guardianship. During the term of muta marriage, neither the husband nor the wife has a right to divorce. A marriage between person with consanguinity relationship under Muslim law is batil. In Muslim law, divorce by line is a right available to the wife only. Hiba of future property in Muslim law is void. Under Muslim law, a bill may be made of 1/3 of the property. Under Muslim life, the donee dies before acceptance of gift, then the gift is void. In Shia Muslim marriage, how many witnesses are compulsorily required? No witness. In Muslim marriage with fifth wife, such marriage shall be irregular. Section 19 TP is related to vested interest. Section 10 TPA provide for condition restraining alienation. Hindu Marriage Act 1955, the provision of divorce by mutual consent was added by amendment in 1976. Which one of the following cases is related to defense of necessity? So R versus Dudley and Stephen, December versus Rumal, Browning versus State, or all of the above. If a pronote is executed on If a pronote is executed on 5 June 1945, the last date for filing the suit will be 6 June 1948. The period of limitation for review of a judgment is 30 days. The Daibhag is ordered by Jimutwahan. The nature of marriage of an impotent person is voidable. The Court Fees Act 1870 was enforced on 1st April 1870. Section 17 Court Fees Act deals with multifarious suits. TPA deals with universal donee. Section 128. Schedule 4 of the Chhattisgarh Rent Control Act 2011 provides for tenant obligation by a landlord to recover possession from a tenant. The period of limitation is 12 years. Under Order 6, Rule 16 CPC, pleading on the ground that it is scandalous, unnecessary, vexatious, or all of the above. Preventive relief is granted by the court under Section 36 of SRA 1963 by injunction. Which one of the following section of the Hindu Succession Act 1956 makes provision for national partition? Section 6. Extinguishment of right to property is dealt under Limitation Act 1963, Section 27. Hindu Marriage Act 1955 requires the minimum period of years of dissertation for filing a petition for divorce immediately preceding the presentation of the petition, so 2 years. The provision for maintenance pendant light has been made under Section 24 of the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. This section Hindu Marriage Act deals with making rules regarding registration of Hindu marriage. So Section 8. This section Hindu Marriage Act deals with punishment for bigamy. 17. Doctrine of less pendants is dealt under Section 52 of TPA. The Registration Act came into force on 1st January 1909. Rule against perpetuity is laid down under Section 14 TPA. Section 17 Registration Act provides for documents which are the compulsorily registrable. Future goods has been denied in the Sale of Goods Act 1930 under Section 26. Under the Hindu Succession Act, which is not a class 1 higher, so further, a suit may be defeated due to non-joinder of a necessary party. The Supreme Court of India has recognized the presumption of innocence as a statutory right. Fourth estate refers to praise. The meaning of odi ultram partem, everybody should be given a reasonable opportunity to defend himself. West Bank is a disputed territory between Palestine and Israel. Locus standi means right to be heard. Set off can be legal set off or equitable set off. The second commission on the center-state relation is headed by M.M. Punchi. What is Watergate? A scandal in which President Nixon got entangled. Clerical or arithmetical mistakes in judgment order can be corrected under 152 CPC. Muslim marriage क्या है? Contract है. Limitation for filing an appeal commences from the date of judgment. City of Amritsar was founded by Guru Ramdas ji. Where was the Anglo-Sikh treaty signed between Maharaja Ranjit Singh and the Britishers? So रोपड़ correct statement बताना है. Pondicherry है. Next है the president of INC at the time of Indian independence was J.B. Kirpalani. Blood pressure is measured by sphygmomanometer. Committee formed to suggest a solution to end ragging on the campus is known as R.K. Raghavan Committee. Ossification test is done to determine non-density. Which among the following writ literally means what is your authority? Who warrant to? Which of the writs can be sued by the High Court to direct a public officer or the government not to enforce a law which is unconstitutional? Prohibition. Which provision of the CPC deals with joinder of cause of action? Order to Rule 3. Under MPLRC, limitation for filing appeal is provided in code under Section 47. Consideration may be past, present, or future. General limitation for filing SAPEN appeal under the Act is 90 days. In which year Copenhagen Summit Conference on Climate Change was held? 2009. Constitutional status to Panchayati Raj was given by 73rd Amendment. How many witnesses are required for attesting an instrument under TPA 2? Shariat Act came into operation 7 October 1937. Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act came into force on 1939. Bohra community follows which school of Muslim law? Ismaili school. Doar Meher absolutely belongs to the wife. Which section CPC Mesne Prophet defines to 12. Order 7 Rule 10 return of plant hai. Objection as to the place of suing shall be allowed in the court and first instance the essence of section 21. Under which section CPC inherent power of the court has been provided? Section 151. Pecuniary jurisdiction of court has been provided? Section 6 में है. Suit of civil nature Section 9 में है. Whether a suit of rescission of contract is maintainable तो यहाँ से in every plaint under Section 26 CPC fact should be proved by affidavit है. The Berlin Wall had been built in 1961 है. Sapender relationship has been defined under Section 3F of the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. The word due process of law indicate in course through the court. The Limitation Act 1963 repealed Indian Limitation Act 1908. The maxim actus legis nemini injuriam means the act of law injuries no one. Grave and sudden provocation is a question of fact. Justice must not only be done but also appear to be done, and may I add must be paid for being done. Who is the author of this statement? Francis Bacon. A plaint can be rejected under Order 7 Rule 11 CPC. The film Jurassic Park was directed by Steven Spielberg. Establishment of administrative tribunal is related to which article? Article 323A. Article 309 enables the legislature to legislate in regard to recruitment and condition of service or person appointed to public services and post in connection with the affairs of the union or of any state. The maxim axio personalis moritur cum persona means a personal right of action dies with the person. Sea of Poppies is written by Amitabh Ghosh. The Fourth World Conference on Women 1995 held at Beijing. Amendment in pleading shall be effective from the date of application. Tour means period between menstruations. An ex parte decree can be set aside under Order Line Rule 13 CPC. A special provision with respect to the state of Goa was inserted by the Constitution in 56th Amendment Act. Musa under the Muhammad Allah means an undivided share in the property. Interrogatories shall be answered as provided under Order 9 Rule 8 CPC as on affidavit. 400 नंबर का क्वेश्चन है. द लॉ ऑफ लिमिटेशन ओनली बार्स द रेमेडी बट डज नॉट एक्सटिंग्विश द राइट. US presidential election are held every 4 years. Limitation period for filing complaint to consumer forum is 1 year. Provision for interest in CPC has been made under Section 34. Smallest military output is called section. Battle of Longibala took place in the year 1971. Second appeal under Section 100 CPC lies on substantial question of law. Review is maintainable when an appeal is provided but no appeal is provided, or when no appeal is provided. Compromise under Order 23 Rule 3 of CPC is must be in writing and signed by the parties. Mother's right to have the custody of the minor child is known as Hejanat. Ex-naval claim or share in a company. In Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball, the definition of begging agreement was given by Justice Hawkins. Which jurist has said contract is not a joke of leisure time? Lord Stavel. Which of the following cases is related to crossover? Tin Banam Hoffman. The doctrine of relation back was explained in Raghamma versus Chenchamma. Under the Hindu Succession Act 1956, in the case of interstate succession of a male Hindu father is class 2 higher. Quantum merit का मतलब क्या है? To the extent of the work done. A contract of life insurance falls under the category of contingent contract. Who is guardian at latent? A person appointed by the court to take legal action on behalf of a minor. Right to appeal is a statutory right. A suit through next friend can be filed by a minor or by a lunatic. Blank is the heart and soul of the constitutional right to constitutional remedies. When a writ is issued to an inferior court or tribunal on ground of exceeding its jurisdiction or acting contrary to the rules of natural justice, it is called a writ of certiorari. The list of witness after settlement of issues must be filed within 15 days. Judicial review of 9th schedule of the Constitution has been made permissible by which of the following cases decided by Supreme Court in I.R. Kolu versus State of Tamil Nadu? Which article of the Constitution related to creation of all India judicial services in India to common to union and the state? Article 312. Who wrote the limit of jurisprudence? Defined Bentham. The initiative of 5 is associated with which of the following name non-aligned movement? Who among the following has been sentenced by an unavailing war crimes against humanity? Charles Taylor. पेयर करेक्टली में डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ अटलांटिक चार्टर कब आया 1941 में, मास्को डिक्लेरेशन 1943 में, डम्बल्टन ऑक्स कॉन्फ्रेंस 1944 में. The concept of Austin sovereignty is introduced by the ideologies of which of the following persons who hopes? Rescission of contract का मतलब क्या है? Cancellation of contract. Who said that public policy is a unruly horse justice borrow? Law is uncertain and certainty of law is a legal method. This statement is given by Jerome Frank. Under CPC, appeal may be filed by way of memorandum. The principal jurist of philosophical school is Hegel. फादर ऑफ इंग्लिश जूरिस्प्रूडेंस ऑस्टिन. सीपीसी में टेम्पररी इंजंक्शन ग्रांटेड कहाँ है? ऑर्डर 39 रूल 1 में. अंडर इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट कंसेंसस एट आइडिया मीन्स टू एग्री ऑन द सेम थिंग इन द सेम सेंस. प्रिंसिपल ऑफ परिडिलेक्ट टू ओमकार मल वर्सेस सुख दर्शन दयाल. शेड्यूल 4 ऑफ द छत्तीसगढ़ रेंट कंट्रोल एक्ट प्रोवाइड्स फॉर टेनेंट ओब्लिगेशन. करेक्ट स्पेलिंग क्या है? इंसाइक्लोपीडिया. Which theory views punishment from the prism of bringing reform in the criminal? Reformative theory. Who among the following jurists is the supporter of the psychological theory of property? Bentham. Which one of the following jurists was hostile to the natural law school? Jeremy Bentham. The Montreal Protocol is related to ozone layer. Modern doctrine of bindingness of precedent was first laid down in Meyerhouse versus Renel. An idea of inducement by exciting hope or desire on the other is known as enticing. ICESCR came into force on 3 January 1976. Which case is about performance of contract Great Northern Railway Corporation versus Harrison? Which of the following school and jurisprudence encompasses the functional approach, sociological approach? Originally under the Hindu Marriage Act, divorce was based on fault theory only. Section 3 of the Protection of Civil Rights Act prescribes punishment for enforcing religion disability. State of Kerala versus N.M. Thomas is about backward class. The maxim reum lingum non facet nisi menstri is propounded by Augustine. KCR नेट एग्जाम में पूछे जाते हैं. लूथर वर्सेस सागोर 1921 का है. बैंक ऑफ इथोपिया वर्सेज नेशनल बैंक ऑफ इजिप्ट 1937 का है. अरंताजू मैंडी केस 1939 का है. यूएस वर्सेज पिंक 1942 का है. Estrada doctrine was propounded by the foreign minister of Mexico. No one has any other right than always to do his duty. It was stated by Professor Duguid. The term legal theory has been first time coined by Ronald Dworkin. Estrada doctrine relates to no necessity of recognition. A marriage under the Muslim law between person with fosterage relationship is batil. Under the Indian Contract Act, acceptance of proposal should be unconditional and absolute. Lokpal and Lokayukt is competent to investigate complaints involving grievances in respect of administrative action. BNSS assent with received कब हुई? 25 दिसंबर 2023 को. BNSS का एक्ट नंबर है 46/2023. BNSS consists of 531 sections 2 schedules. An undertaking for release with surety is called bail bond. In a case of a bar and trial, only those offences are included which are punishable with days imprisonment for life or term exceeding 2 years. Who can issue search warrant in respect of postal authority? District magistrate of chief judicial magistrate. Under the BCA 2023, evidence may be given in respect of fact and issue and relevant fact. The fact which form part of the same transaction are relevant under section 4 BSA. Talaq Azan is revocable during the period of iddat. Doctrine of frustration laid down in Taylor versus Caldwell, in which case principle ubi jus ibi remedium. SB versus White. Law is a social engineering to remove the existing imbalance and to further the progress serving the needs of the socialist democratic Bharat under the rule of law. Justice K. Ramaswamy in Delhi Transport Corporation versus DTC Mazdoor Congress. Antonym or kinetic inactive. Theories of punishment are deterrent theory, retributive theory, preventive, reformative, or expiative. 5 theory of punishment. Who separated jurisprudence from religion? Hugo Grotius. Doctrine of moral reasoning? Kohler. Just civil, just gentium, just naturally are found in Roman law. The antonym of proclaim is suppress. Maintenance pendant light has been discussed under section 24 of the Hindu Marriage Act. A bill can be presented for registration under Registration Act 1908 within at any time. Which of the following is correct sequence of stages in crime? Intention, preparation, attempt, accomplishment. Best section of Limitation Act 1963 provide that on lapse of time not only the remedy is barred but the right to property is also extinguished. Section 27. In which of the following cases did Supreme Court make it clear that mere criticism or comments on government would not amount to offence of sedition? Kedarnath versus State of Bihar. In which of the following cases did Supreme Court issue direction for playing national anthem in all cinema halls before start of feature film and making mandatory for all in hall to stand up and show respect to national anthem? Syam Narayan Choksi versus Union of India. Plea raised by contesting respondent is in fact called plea of demurrer. Non-joinder of necessary party in a suit will lead to dismissal of suit. Proceeding by which a decree holder seeks to recover money or property of judgment debtor in the hands of third party is known as garnishee order. Responsibility of finder of courts is covered under quasi contract. Supreme Court recognized the principle once a mortgage always a mortgage in Mrityunjay Pani versus Narvada Banki Sasumal. In which section SRA specific performance of contract enforceable? Section 10. When an instrument in writing does not express the real intention, then either party may institute a suit for rectification of instrument. Which article of Constitution of India provide constitutional safeguard to civil servant? Article 311. Profullo Kumar versus Bank of Commerce Khulna is a leading question with and substance principle. Devdasan versus Union of India is related to carry forward rule. Power of Supreme Court to review its own judgment is provided under Article 137. Acknowledgement of legitimacy about a child made by a Muslim is irrevocable. The source of right of preemption in India can be attributed to Muslim law. A Sunni marriage without witness is irregular. Under Sunni law, a marriage performed during the period of iddat is irregular. दोस्तों ये 500 इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन थे. नेक्स्ट वीडियो में भी हम लोग को देखेंगे मतलब 500 से और इससे भी ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन. तो आप वीडियो लाइक कर लीजिए, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए. थैंक यू.